Previously on Winning Image. So, as you could probably tell, the upgrades that we did get this week for our deck are 4 copies of Wyvern Doha. And because I previously planned ahead, I knew that I wanted to get 4 copies of Wyvern Garan. These 4 are really good cards that we could add to our deck. So Wyvern Doha, when it's placed from hand, you could counterblast 1 and search your deck for 1 Wyvern Garan, which is the grade 1 shown off, and call it to rear, shuffle your deck. And during the battle that it attacked, if our opponent has no rearguards, your opponent cannot call normal units from hand to Guardian Circle. So going along with the whole guard restrict theme with Waterfall for stopping Sentinels and Dual X forcing 2 cards, it's one of those important cards that we could add to our deck and support the main strategies. Wyvern Garan is also really good because during our turn, if our opponent has no rearguards, it gets plus 5,000 power. And when an attack hits, that it boosted a Wyvern Doha, so basically when they're in the same column and the attack hits, you could counterblast 1, draw a card, and soul charge 1. These are really good cards to add to our deck, and the easiest change that I could see is we take out our Zarenas and we take out our Nassers for them. Pretty quick, simple change that we could make to our deck that just makes it perform that much better. So because this is a dragon deck, I decided to pick up these sleeves. So the Dragon Shield art sleeves. These are Quinoshi art. Quinoshi the Dread. The blue dragon reared its head and bared its teeth. So it looks like Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dragonic Waterfall, depending on what game you play. So before we get into playing with this deck, I'm going to sleeve this up and hopefully it looks really cool on our updated Kagero deck. So on top of the countercharge that Air Mode can provide and Bari being an extra draw and of course Sentinel for the deck, I think the next best upgrade to the deck would be the book order. So being able to counterblast 3 and soul blast 3 isn't bad once we have the countercharge options for the deck. And it draws us 3 cards on top of that, giving this deck a bit of advantage engine that this deck lacks. I could see myself once I get the air modes putting it in, but for now, what I think we have with our current deck list is doing a-okay. So before we get into the match for this video, I just want to say a quick thank you to y'all for 200 subscribers. I didn't think I would reach 200 this fast in only 2 months of doing this, and I still can't believe how far this Kagero deck has progressed since the very first video I did with it. It's really because of y'all that I decided to really dive into Kagero, even though it's a clan that I haven't really messed around with in the past. Now that our deck's fully put together and you guys know what it looks like, let's card fight. So in this episode, we are up against sponsored Vanguard player Will P. He also comes from Dragon's Lair in Austin, which is actually really close to me. He also has a channel, and if you guys could go check him out, share him some love, tell him we sent you, please go do that. It really means a lot to me. So for this match against our Kagero deck, he decided to go with Altmile. Now on paper, that's a really bad matchup for us. And it doesn't help that we didn't draw a grade 3 so we could ride every turn. So for that reason, I ride the draw PG to try and search it out. But we don't get it. And since we are going second, we discard our quick shield to do it with the skill, and we are forced to swing under his 8k Sisyphus that he rode last turn. And we get no trigger so it doesn't hit. Then, Altmile is known for having an explosive grade 2 turn. It was only able to ride a Suleiman, use its skill to search out an aerial Divine Knight and call it to rearguard. Then he attacked twice, attacking with the Altmile first and Suleiman second, returning the grade 3 to his hand so he has it ready for next turn. Then on our turn, we ride a Bellicosity and call another one, also drawing into our Dual X, so when we ride it, we have a full grade 3 setup. We get him to 2 damage using our Bellicosity attacks, and the reason why I decided to kind of push her there is so that when we ride our Dual X that we drew, it makes our turn that much more threatening. So with that 2 damage, he's able to ride his Aerial Divine Knight Altmile and pull off some really explosive plays with only 2 damage available. So he fills up his field using his Hope Song Angel and Aerial Divine Knight to better search out his Starlight Violinists and other cards. And he calls the Sisyphus and a Suleiman to his field. With that, he has a full field and he's ready to attack. He also checks a crit for us at the worst possible time because we're already playing from behind. He returned the Syslist to his hand to try and take advantage of its on-call skill next turn, leaving him with 4 rear guards and us back to our turn. So on our turn, we ride our grade 3 dual axe Archdragon, and since we're already playing from behind, we have to put his Force 2 on Vanguard in my opinion, so we can at least threaten lethal with a double crit when we swing with it. Then we call our Doha, use the skill to search out our Garan, yay, and then use Burnout skill, which we call from hand, to retire his Suleiman, leaving only his back row. And with his back row, we burn it down with Dual Axe's ability, leaving his field empty. Now, if you guys don't know, Doha's guard restrict ability only activates when our opponent has no rear guards, so that's why we're doing that in the sequence that we did. And also have Ryopi on the field so it gains plus 20k, 5k for each card retired. Then we swing with our Vanguard, and he's successfully able to guard it, even with the guard restrict active. Then we swing with our Doha, and he successfully guards that using 2 triggers from his hand. Now that he has no face-up damage still, we decide to not attack with our Burnout and give him another damage so he isn't able to wrap us up that easily, which I believe was the best optimal play in the position that I was in that game. Because if we were to attack him, he would be able to use Aerial Divine Knight skill again, thus filling up his board, and with already his low hand count, which I believe was in the range of 4 to 6, he needs to be able to I wanted to get him to force call cards from his hand in order to try and wrap us up. On his turn, he had the one card which I could not play around no matter what. Absolute Blade Knight Leafro allows him to Soul Blast 1 and search out whatever grade 2 he wants from his deck. And since he has no face-up damage, he's able to pay for it that way. And we can't stop that at all. So he fills up his field, calls a few cards, and then he just pulls up another explosive attack. And since we're already at a high damage count, 4 damage, we have to take his attacks because we don't really have a strong hand, only a PG, because we called everything, leaving us with only 3 cards in hand after our drive check. Even though one of them's a PG, that's down to 1. So one trigger that he got really just destroyed us because he also had the Alt-Mal skill active. So he basically defeats us doing what Alt-Mal does, an explosive, all-out, powerful attack. Man, I'm getting tired of losing while I'm playing on camera for y'all. I really want to see how this deck turns out in the end, and let's try and wrap this up when we get some new cards from the Festival Collection next episode.